It's Hermann Kelly. I'm a Derryman, you can tell with accent, but I'm an Irish national and I'm president of the Irish Freedom Party. And I've been campaigning for the European elections since October, and I've been travelling around the country quite a lot. And I'll tell you what, if you think your concerns about the safety in your town here in Ballybay and all around Monaghan just pertains to Monaghan, we're all sadly mistaken. Even there in small towns in West Clare and West Donegal, if you walk around these towns, Irish people are now becoming a minority in our own towns. We read there in the press that last year there's over 4,000 men and women came into Dublin Airport last year with no passports, no proper documentation. These people, 85% of people who applied for to be asylum, I don't know, is this any good? What do you think? To be asylum seekers at Dublin Airport last year, 85% of them, 4,000 people, had no documentation or false documentation. We have to be off our heads as a people to allow and to tolerate a huge number of unvetted men and women to come into our country. Why is that? We've all seen examples of it throughout the country already. A very well-known case of the consequence of unvetted people coming into Ireland is the murder of that beautiful girl, Aisling Murphy, in Tullamore 2 years ago. Now that guy, Joseph Puska, who's convicted of her murder, was in the country. He came in through EU open borders. He wasn't a refugee. He wasn't an asylum seeker. He's a Slovak Roma. He came in because of EU open borders. That guy got a free house, a 5-bedroom house for his family and his kids at our expense. So Irish people got up every morning to go to work to provide for a waster who never worked a single day in the 10 years that he was in Ireland. And how did he think the Irish people? He murdered a young girl in the middle of the day. And do you know what? There's so many of these cases throughout the country. I was looking up about that case and I saw another one, virtually unspoken about a guy in Wexford, again another Slovak, who raped a girl of 7 there 2 years ago. Sexually assaulted this young girl of 7 numerous times. And do you know what? We found out later that this guy had been convicted of murder in Slovakia before he came here. So the practice, this government policy of EU open borders is literally going to kill our country. We are being replaced hand over fist in every town and city in Ireland. There, if you look at the PPS numbers, you will see 2002, there were 3,005 PPS numbers given out in Ireland. Guess what percentage of that went to Irish people? Any clue? 23%. Last year, I believe, just off the top of my head, it was 270 roughly PPS numbers given out. What percentage went to Irish people or people born in Ireland? 24%. All right? So every year, year on year, only a minority of people that are on the dole or starting to work are Irish people. I'm saying to you, the political class in Ireland who are making the decisions, those people who are allowing huge numbers of unvetted males to come into our towns and cities, we need to replace them before they replace us. Because what is happening, we can see where we are today. We are a people, an ancient people, who have lived on this land for thousands of years. My father had the phrase, every beast has its plane. We're not made to live in Africa. We're not to live in the north of northern Norway with blonde hair and blue eyes. We're just made exactly for the land that we live in. We belong here, and this land belongs to us. And I was down at Navan Castle today. A guy called Hugh de Lacy was given power over Dublin, an Anglo-Norman, given power and built a huge castle to replace the native Irish And do you know what? What is going on at the minute because of this government policy of EU open borders? We are being replaced in our own country. Our children are the ones who are emigrating. Our children are the ones who cannot get a house, cannot find an apartment to rent. Our children are the ones who are emigrating to Australia in huge numbers, 21,000 last year. Now, if we let this situation continue, in a number of decades, we will be a minority in our own country. If we allow this situation to continue, we will be a minority in our own country. And the thing is, and I appreciate history is made by people who turned up, and you turned up to add your voice to you're not happy, you have your concerns about what's going on here in the Riverdale Hotel just down the road here. And we know that these people, I would say one thing, be wary of this media carry on about they all want to talk about it's only asylum seekers and refugees. When you look at the PPS numbers, they're only a minority of the people coming in here. The vast majority is EU open borders. But you know what? Who is profiting from all this? Right? These politicians and their political allies, all the hotel owners, the banties of this world, they're not doing it because out of love or compassion or anything. They're doing it because they're lining and growing fat on our money, handed over by the government, by government politicians. They're taking our money, people who get up and go to work in the morning, and they're handing it over to these, what would you call them? I'll be kind and I'll just call them gum-bean traders. I'll be kind and call them gum-bean traders. People who betray their own people and their own country. We all remember there a few years ago, I believe it was in Carrickmacross, where it was a young teacher was raped. And where was that guy staying? In a hotel owned by Banty. So all this fat cats growing fat on our money are putting the safety of ourselves and our children at risk. So we've got to get these politicians, as I said, replace them before they replace us. So I'm up here going around the country. Hermann Kelly used to call me Herman's a name, hurling's a game. Now it's actually going around. I'm running an European election candidate, and I'm basically looking, we have 15 candidates for the local elections. We're looking for more candidates, people who stand up. I'm not looking for people who are perfect. I'm looking for people who love their country, love their children, want a better future for the country and for their children, and who are willing to put their name, their face, and their reputation up in public, because we will get support. We just need the people to put themselves forward as candidates for the Irish Freedom Party, and with a clear message that Ireland is full. There's not enough in a country of finite public services. We don't have any more school places, houses, etc., etc. It's not our duty to house the world. And do you know what? Irish people should come first in our own country. This is Ireland. This is our land. It's for the people of Ireland and Irish citizens, and we should be first at every turn. First for housing, first for medical services, first for welfare. We're not here to house the world and give free bed and board for everybody who can afford a ticket into Dublin Airport. That is absolutely madness. Thanks very much, Mark. That's a beer for you tonight. So, with I know it's very hard because we all live in a small country and it's a small town, about people putting themselves forward. But anybody here would like to talk as an invitation, and I would like to thank the Ballybay Concerned Citizens for the invitation to myself tonight to come out and speak. I'm happy to come out and travel anywhere around the country. I've been doing it now since October, to speak in any place about what's going on in our country. We can see it's becoming incredibly unsafe. One, it compromises the financial and the physical security of our people in Ireland. You don't have to be a genius to see that taking in huge numbers of unvetted males into a country causes a large increase in crime. We've seen it in Germany. I give you the example where 2015, 2016, there was a 10% increase in crime. There was a government-sponsored study, Lower Saxony, 92% of that crime was carried out by new migrants into Germany. In Sweden, a non-national is 2.5 times more likely to be charged with rape and sexual assault than a Swedish native. So you don't have to be a genius to see it happening all across Europe, and it would be incredibly naive and very dishonest for us to say that it's not going to happen here. So I would ask you to examine in your conscience, are you willing to put yourself forward as a candidate in the local elections and later in the general election perhaps, and put yourself forward, because do you know what? There's a large number of people out there. Look at the polls. What concerns people the most at the minute is immigration and housing, and 2 years ago it was completely verboten to talk about these topics. So the country is starting to wake up. It's going in the right direction, but we need more people on board and more organisation to get that movement growing and growing quicker. You've seen there recently, we had a rally there, was it last week, in Drogheda, to protest about the closing down of the only active hotel in Drogheda. There was 1,000 people turned up. And 2 weeks before that, was 5,000 or 7,000 people down in Dublin at Customs House to protest about the colonisation of Ireland, the colonisation without consent of Ireland that we never asked about, we never gave consent to. What is happening, without any exaggeration, is a new plantation of Ulster. And did we say that we wanted that? Never. Well, we were never asked and we never gave consent. So we got to make it clear, we got to put candidates forward to scare the living daylights out of the political class who are in power, who are giving us EU open borders, who are taking away our financial security and our physical security. So is anybody here local who would like to talk about the situation in the Riverdale? Don't be shy, come on. If I can talk and I'm ugly, anybody can do it. Fergal.
We believe that it's going to be used as a DP centre, and I suppose our concern is for the safety of the people of Ballybay, our women and children. Like, we can see what's going on all over the country then as well. So what we want is, suppose, the person that owns Riverdale to come forward and tell us what it's actually going to be used for and who's going to be coming into it, because we have a right as people of Ballybay for the safety of the people that are in the town as well. So that's the main concern from the people of Ballybay, is our safety and who's coming into the town then as well. So. Yeah. Look at there is. Yeah. You see, this is the thing. Like, no one knows what they're being used for. You know what I mean? But you can use your head, like, what it's been used for. You know what I mean? Look, we have to get a committee as a community as well. We have to get a local committee set up to be able to man this and support each other as well. You know what I mean? Like, it's, I suppose, like, we as a community need to stand strong for this, because if whatever happens in Riverdale brings harm to the people in Ballybay, like, you have to, at least you can stand up and say that you did something. Do you know what I mean? It's the protection of the people within the community and surrounding communities as well, which is the issue.
These are all good questions, lads. Great, and it's great to see you showing your concern. There's a question I have for you. Many of you are not registered to vote. Many has checked the register to see he's registered to vote.
Can you say that again?
How many people check the register to see if they're registered to vote? You know the register?
Yeah, I'm on the register.
How many people check? It's a fact. The fact is in this
Hey?
50%
I have no fucking idea.
on the register. There are people walking, one second, there are people walking through this house 50, 60 years ago that have never voted in their lives. Never voted in their lives, never took part in anything. Never took part in Lynchburg treaties or anything. And these are the people that are facilitating what's going on here now. Because don't talk about governments rigging votes. They don't have to rig the votes. All they have to do is count the people who do vote. And the people who do vote are their friends. They vote. The people who don't vote are the people who are facilitating what's going on in your town. That's the problem. And it's good that you have took the measure of inviting Hermann here, because a lot of these no groups want to be apolitical. And that's exactly what the government want you to do, is to remain apolitical, to not take a view, to sit up and let yourself be called names, far right, Nazi, blah, blah, blah. When in actual fact, you're just concerned about what's going on in your own town. This is the point. You must get political. You must get on that register. Now, we highlighted this about 6 weeks ago. 44,000 people went on the register before the deadline for this referendum. And that's through pressure from our party and other nationalist parties in this country, who are cajoling and getting at people, get on the register, get on the register, get ready to vote. Because we are in a fight. We are in a fight. This is a fight. We are fighting for our country. We are in a fight. To make no mistake about it. Other people are looking at this place and know what they're saying. It's ripe for the picking. The door's open. Get in. That's what's the message that's going out from this country. We have a minister that sent out tweets in 9, 10 different languages around the world, inviting people into this country, offering them a free house, free job, free health care. That man's up there now. He's in the government. The only way to get him out is to vote. That's the way you shift them. You vote. Get on the register and get ready for your revenge. To get these guys out, these traitors that are selling our country down the line. And people will tell you about Pádraig Pearse, James Connolly. Them men are lucky. They're dead. Their suffering's over. Our suffering continues. Because we are sitting watching our country being given away. Step by step, day by day, out from and under our very noses. Them men are lucky. They're gone. You're living through, you're watching your country being given away. Right from under your noses. 440 Irish doctors left this country 2 years ago for Australia. 460 Irish doctors left this country last year for Australia. There's not even enough doctoring in Australia for them to do. They're working on building sites and on farms. And we're taking doctors in. And we're told we need doctors and engineers. And we're exporting ours. Many people here standing here has nobody belonging to them in a foreign country that didn't leave this country to live somewhere else. My own brother's only here back from Canada. It's everywhere. The very definition of a failed state is a place that cannot hold on to its own people. That's how you know when your own people don't want to stay here. When they get on the plane and leave you. When you're talking to them on a computer screen at night, and you can't shake their hand or put your arms around your child because it's away in some other country. There's children there. What future have they here? What do we do with them? We rear them up and say, oh, make sure you get all your qualifications because if you get the qualifications, you can go anywhere in the world. Why not tell them if you get the qualifications, you can stay here? Stay here and make a life here. I can't improve the weather, but I can definitely make this place a better place for Irish people to live. And that's the point. After 100 years of independence, lads, it should be getting easier. But it's not. It's getting harder every day. And that's the point. You must get registered to vote and get into get the votes in, lads. Get your vote in. Don't sit back and let these guys trample all over you. This is your country. It's your town. And you must stand up for yourselves. If you don't stand up for yourselves, it's going to go ahead. It's going to go ahead. That's what it is. There's empty buildings right around you. They'll fill them. Every one of them. If you don't stand up for yourselves. Good luck.
You know, it's absolute madness. When those, I'm talking about those, and it was only in the paper last week, 4,000 completely unvetted people came into Ireland and the Dublin airport last year. 85% of all who applied for asylum in Dublin airport. And yet, we don't know these people's names. Because of government policy, we don't know these people's names. We don't know where they're from. We don't know their criminal record. We don't know whether they're going to contribute. Do they have any skills at all to contribute to our country? And yet it's government policy which not only allows them in, as Mark there pointed out, Roderick O'Gorman. He sent around, come all ye's all around the world to everybody in different languages. Come all ye, get a free house. I was in Roscommon there yesterday, and I was walking up the main street in Roscommon town, and there was a guy in the archway of a shop, big doorway of a shop. He was telling me, he was talking to me, he was homeless for the last 18 months, a year and a half, right? So an Irish man is homeless, and yet he's looking around in Roscommon, and he sees all these hotels and B&Bs being filled up with men, young men from Afghanistan and Pakistan and every country you can think of around the world. Why is it that Irish people are homeless while the government is sticking all these men and women and giving them free bed and board at our expense? That is madness. Our country is being destroyed. The future of our children is being taken away. Our children are being forced to emigrate as we're importing someone else to replace them. That, as Mark says, is the definition of a failed state. Why is it failing? Because the politicians don't respond to us. They're not taking the will from us. They're importing laws from Brussels mainly. A lot of the laws are made in Brussels by people who we don't elect, who aren't accountable to us, who we can't get rid of. The laws come in here. EU open borders is one of the policies. That anybody who wants, from 450 million people across the EU, the majority of people who come in to Ireland on the PPS numbers are not asylum seekers and all that. They're EU nationals. They walk in here and they get free stuff. And do you know what's really scandalous? Look at the thing about ARP for Ukrainians. So if you're Ukrainian, you get 800, this ARP, accommodation recognition payment. They get 800 quid a month tax-free to give to a landlord. If they approach a landlord, say in this street, the guy advertises at a room for rent. The Ukrainian goes, I can give you €800 and you don't have to pay tax on it. And the next guy comes along, an Irishman from Ballybay, says, look, I only live here, my kids are close, I only live here. And he says, I can give you 800 quid, but you have to be taxed on it. If you're the landlord, which are you going to take? The government are giving financial incentives for our replacement. So all these guys like Banty and the crowd like him, they are incentivized to get as many people as they can. And you see in all these schemes, the government is paying for our replacement. So it's our turn now. Not to get angry, not to be rallying, walking up and down the street, shouting slogans, but to get registered, to get candidates, to get active campaigning and vote against the government to replace them before they replace us, because that's clearly what they intend to do. Everything falls into place in Ireland when you understand that the government hates Irish people, Irish culture, right? Our future, they don't give a damn about us. It's very, very clear from their actions. They may say this, but their actions betray that we are not their priority. Xenodulia, worship of foreigners. Xenodulia, that's what it is. And hibernophobia, they're dripping with hibernophobia of the Irish people, Irish culture, Irish sovereignty, and that's exactly what we have to take back. So I would say to all the people here, get down to nitty gritty. You need to form a committee here in Ballybay, right? You need to form a committee of people, concerned citizens in Ballybay, to get active. You need to find yourselves a candidate to put forward for the local elections. You need to scare the living daylights out of the politicians around here, because the only thing that they understand is you take votes off them or you take money off them. Otherwise, they don't give a damn. So another thing is to write to your TDs and tell them about your concerns. You want to know everything what's going on in the town, and you're not happy about the plantation or the new colonisation of Ballybay, and you want it to stop, and you want Irish people put first in Ireland, and Irish people should be housed first, and we're not here to be a plantation centre for everybody else around the world. So that's it for me tonight. If anybody else in the locals want to speak, please come up. If you want to talk about a local committee, Fergal.
Yeah, look at it. Suppose there's anyone else from Ballybay that's here now with any concerns, like suppose like a lot of you making, suppose you know like some of the people that's up in the pub there are not really worried about it.
Do you hear how brain damaged we are to tolerate, to allow what's going on around the country? You had that Joseph Puska who murdered Ashley Murphy, allowed to sit around in his ass in a free house and get free medical care, free everything for 10 years, never worked a day in his life, and he thanked us by murdering a beautiful young girl. That guy, who was it? The Algerian guy who stabbed the 3 kids in Dublin there, where was it, November, was in the country for 23 years. Got free everything for 23 years, never worked never worked a day in his life, free everything. And how did he thank us? By stabbing our children in the neck in the middle of a day in Dublin. The guy, you may have seen it there last year, he was from Angola, black guy who stabbed a German tourist in the neck at the entrance of airport, Dublin Airport. In the country, I believe it was 20 years, never worked a single day in his life, free bed and board. We are this government are treating all of us like idiots. Like idiots. Yeah. And it won't change unless we change the politicians. They have political power. Imagine the madness of what's going on. Helen McEntee, who one is like probably not the brightest in her school, right? But she found herself, all because she could hold an umbrella for Leo Varadkar, she found herself as Minister for Justice. We have a Minister of Justice who allows the law to be broken every day in Dublin Airport. As I talked about, the 4,000 came in last year with no documentation. And not only that, not only are they not turned back, not only are they not put in jail as they should be, because anybody here illegally should be deported immediately. She rewards them. What does she do? She has rewarded people who have acted illegally with citizenship. That is a country with a suicide wish.
Council.
They're destroying these ministers, these politicians who are supposed to be guarding our welfare, have declared war on ourselves as a people and on our national sovereignty. A Minister for Justice who rewards illegal behaviour by giving them citizenship and passport. Really, you know what? What else do we need to happen? What else? Like all these murders, stabbings, our children are leaving in their droves and they're being replaced, and we're walking around our own towns and we find ourselves a minority in our own. My grandfather's from Ballybay. 20 years ago, you walk around, of course, it was an Irish town. Longford, you walk around there, it was the albino central of the world. And now you walk around Longford, at least half the people in Longford town are non-national. So many of these towns around the country, we're becoming a minority in our own town. And we're being treated like dogs by our own government. So please, get a committee, get a committee, speak to Fergal and Paul here tonight, get a committee going of Ballybay Concerned Citizens. Examine yourself. Are you willing to put yourself forward as a candidate in the local election, and write to your TD and tell them you're not happy, you've had enough of what's going on in Ireland with immigration. It's got to stop. Those people who come here legally should be deported, and you want that Irish people are housed first in Ireland. Hardly too much to ask for. We are the native people here. We are citizens of Ireland. We are Irish nationals, and we should be treated like that. At the minute, we're being treated like idiots. That's all I have to say. Thank you very much.